Welcome to the Shop Small Society podcast, the show for product-based business owners who are ready to make more money and impact without sacrificing more time. I'm Erica, product-based business educator and online retail queen. I started my first business at 19 in my mom's basement, left my corporate job at 23, and have spent the last decade helping small shops grow with strategies, systems, and heart. Whether you're just starting out or ready to scale, you're in the right place. Each week, I'll bring you honest conversations, proven strategies, and a whole lot of encouragement to help you build a business that supports your life, not one that steals from it. I'm so thrilled you found this podcast, and I'm so thankful you're here. Now let's do this thing. If you ever felt like you've been hustling and doing everything in your business and not seeing the growth you want, I see you. I've been there. And today, I'm sharing the 3 biggest things that helped me grow without burning out. I feel like sometimes we can have little phases of burnout, and then we kind of, get back on track and everything feels fine again. And then sometimes we go through large phases of burnout. And that actually happened to me last year. I had a very large phase of burnout because I was straight hustling so much. I was working 6 to 7 days a week, barely ever seeing my kids. I was never home. I was always working. And there was a moment where I was finally just like, I don't want to do this anymore. And my husband says, well, you don't have to. And I'm like, oh, I don't. I really don't. I'm going to share 3 of the biggest things that helped me grow and that can help you not to burn out like I did. The biggest one and the most important one, I'm going to say for the very end. First things first, tip number 1. I started really looking at my numbers. I stopped guessing what was working and started paying attention to what was actually working just by looking at reports and my numbers. For a long time, I was literally just guessing, posting what I thought people wanted, buying inventory that I thought was cute but wasn't actually going to sell, and running sales just to get cash in. But when I finally sat down and looked at what was selling, what wasn't, and how much profit I was actually making off of each item and style, everything got clearer. So to truly look at your numbers like this, there's a couple of different reports you can pull. It depends on really what you want to focus on. If you are really wanting to nail down on your inventory and actually offering what your customers are actually going to buy instead of, wasting your time and money on inventory that's not going to move or sell or give you profit, then you need to pull some sales reports and inventory reports. And this is super easy with Shopify. I can give you a link if you don't already have Shopify. I like Square, but it doesn't give you all the reports you need, like that you truly need. So from these reports, I figured out what were my best sellers, what items had the highest profit margins, what sold out quickly, and what sat for weeks. And then what was most of my revenue coming from? Which category was most of my revenue coming from? And from these reports, something completely shocked me. One of my categories was literally just carrying my whole store because it was my biggest seller. And I was out promoting, 15 different things when this one category was my thing that was making me the most amount of money. So what did I do with that information? I took it, I doubled down on the category that was working the best. I featured it in my emails, I talked about it in stories, and I tried to keep a lot of stock on hand in that specific category. And with that being said, from those reports, I got rid of the stuff that wasn't moving by marking it down, and I stopped restocking that stuff. So for this tip, here's my biggest piece of advice. Stop posting everything and truly just look at what is actually working first. Let your numbers lead your decisions in what you decide to offer and what you decide to spend your time on marketing. You might think one certain product of yours is the absolute best, but your customers might not. And that's why it's just sitting there. So look at your numbers, look at the real data, and let that help you make your decision. The second game changer for me was I started automating everything I possibly could. And let me be super clear, last year, I was the only employee for my business. I went from having employees and having my store fully staffed so I didn't even have to be there if I didn't want to be, to it just being me. And for a while, I really liked it just being me because I didn't have to worry about employees and, making sure they are trained and all of that stuff. But then after a while, I was like, okay, this is a lot. So I automated literally everything I could. For my email marketing, I set up a welcome email sequence. So every new customer or email subscriber heard from my business without me having to lift a finger. I set up a customer follow-up email. So after so many days past their purchase, they're getting an email. It's a thank you email. It follows up and asks them for a review that automatically goes to my website for other people to see. So this is an email that not only thanks them for their purchase, but it's also getting their feedback on the product. And most of the time it is good feedback. So that also helps me to build trust with new customers on my website when they see a positive review. Another good automation for email is abandoned cart. So if someone adds certain items to their cart and forgets about it, which I literally do all the time, it sends them an email, and I have it set up through text too. It sends them a text and it reminds them, hey, don't forget to check out. I did the same thing with my text program too, because not everybody sees emails all the time. Sometimes it gets into the junk folder. Sometimes you are subscribed to way too many things and you just never see it. So I am a big believer in text message programs. I call it that, but it's SMS marketing. Another big thing that saved me time is batching content and scheduling it. And I know this sounds so basic, elementary, but it truly helps to just sit down, double down, and create your content all in one sitting and scheduling that out throughout the week. You don't have to think about it anymore. And here's the thing, you don't have to be a super techie person to set up these automations and to schedule your posts. There are videos all over the internet to teach you how to do these things. You can literally figure out how to do anything on the internet, so I believe in you. And the thing is, with the email and text automations, you set those up one time and you don't ever have to think about them again. What is going to be a weekly task is batching your content. Oh, I forgot one more thing that I automated that I absolutely love. It is through Shopify Inbox. It is a really cool tool because it allows your customers to chat with you in real time. It goes directly to your phone if you have the app downloaded, and you can set it up to send instant replies and frequently asked question responses. So a couple of things that I put in there were things that people asked all of the time, like my return policy, my store hours, what is the turnaround time on made-to-order items. This can be customized for you and your business, but just think about things that people ask most frequent and put that in there, automate it so you don't have to do as much. You can also make a whole page on your website that gives even more information on a certain question, product, policy, whatever it is, and you can copy and paste that link to the Shopify Inbox response so people can just click on that to get more information. Okay, are you ready for it? This is tip number 3, and I think the most important thing that helped me just leave burnout behind. And it was changing my mindset and realizing that my business works for me and I get to decide how I run my business. Not social media, not other business owners, not my customers, not what's been always done. I get to decide. So for the longest time, I felt like I had to run my shop a certain way, certain hours, just based on other people's hours, being available at certain times, posting at certain times, and I felt guilty if I had to close because I had a sick kiddo, or if I had to leave early to pick up my kids from daycare. So finally, I realized, you know what? I get to decide. It really does not have to look like everybody else's business because everybody has their own life, their own timing, their, different family activities going on, different age kids. Everybody's business is going to look different. So why do I have to structure my business around what I think it's supposed to look like? So the first thing I did was I completely shortened my opening hours at my storefront. I went from being open 5 days a week to being open 3 days a week. And then, you know what I did? This was the best thing I've ever done, is I decided I just wanted to go fully online and mobile. And literally the moment that I announced that, I just had so much weight off my shoulders. I felt more freedom immediately. And I realized that the actual storefront and having to be so committed and having to be there all the time was really holding me back from doing things that were going to help me move the needle forward. So like I said before, whenever I moved to online only, it was like a very weird transition because I was so used to hustling 24/7 and then, one day I wasn't. And that was weird for me. And that is something that I am still continuing to get used to. But I will say closing my brick and mortar was one of the best things I could have done for me. And remember, everybody's business looks different. Having a brick and mortar might be the best thing for you, or it might not be. But the most important thing to remember is you get to decide how your business is ran, not everybody else. Don't focus on what everybody else is doing. You do not have to follow someone else's version of success because success looks different for everybody. So, to sum everything up, first things first, look at your numbers. Go ahead and put it in your calendar and make a point to have a numbers date. Look at those numbers, start tracking what you should actually be focusing on instead of just guessing. Once you do that, things will be a lot more clear for you and you will waste a lot less time and a lot less money. Number 2, automate everything you can. It only takes a couple of steps to set up an automation. You can look it up on YouTube. You just set them up once and leave them and let them work for you. You don't have to be techie. You just need a plan. And number 3, you get to decide how you run your business, nobody else. So today, I want you to get out a pen and paper, write down exactly how you want your business to look like, and take out all of the opinions and what everybody else is doing and write down what you want your business to look like and what your work week should look like for your life so you can live your best life and build the business of your dreams without having to sacrifice more free time. So if you are in a season of burnout, you do not have to keep grinding. You can change how it looks today. Take away all of the opinions, the what ifs, the what will they thinks, and do what's best for you, your life, your family, your business. That's all that matters. Thanks for tuning in to the Shop Small Society podcast. If today's episode helped you, share it with a fellow entrepreneur friend and leave a quick review. It helps more shop owners find this show. And if you are ready to simplify and scale your shop, come say hi on Instagram at the Shop Small Society or check out our latest resources at shopsmallsociety.com. Until next time, keep going. Your business gets to support a life you truly love.